Sorry, I gotta do it.
Welcome to Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. Welcome to What's Up in the World today. And welcome to the preview for WrestleMania. I'm your host, Iceman Caesar. What a show we got for you tonight. Every title's on the line, including SmackDown Live Women's title. The streak is also on the line. Asuka takes on Charlotte Flair. What a match that's going to be. We got two big tag team matches the world has been waiting for. The first one, the miracle return of the Yes Man, Daniel Bryan, teaming up with Shane McMahon, who somehow grinned it out to compete in this one. They're taking on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Both guys currently fired. If they win, they get their jobs back. If they lose, they're done for good. Daniel Bryan and Shane will be ready to go. I can't wait. And then the big one, the debut of Ronda Rousey alongside Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, taking on the billion-dollar princess Stephanie McMahon and her husband, the cerebral assassin, the Game, Triple H. What a match that's going to be. The world will be watching. I can't wait. Then the big one for the Universal title, the champion Brock Lesnar takes on Roman Reigns, a rematch from WrestleMania 31. This time there's no Money in the Bank briefcase out there. Win, lose, or draw, it's going down between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a fight. We get to see it tonight. And then John Cena's here. Will The Undertaker be here? We don't know. Will there be a match? Will there be a confrontation? We're gonna find out because Cena is here. Will The Undertaker show up? But we got the main event, the dream match, the champion, WWE champion AJ Styles to one-on-one with Shinsuke Nakamura, the winner of the Royal Rumble. It's a dream match. The world's been waiting for it. I can't wait. I'm fired up. Let's go to ringside.
Alright, thank you everybody for humoring me. I've always wanted to do that. I always loved those old school intros. I love that old school WrestleMania theme. So, with doing the What's Up in the World Today video and What's Up in the World Today videos, I just got that idea and I couldn't get it out of my mind, so I had to get her done. So thanks for humoring me. As always, thanks everybody for coming along for the ride. This is the WrestleMania 34 preview. The best day of the year, WrestleMania. We wait for it all year, and it's just the showcase of the Immortals, the grandest stage of them all. It's the day where it just brings everybody together to have a great time. Tons of positive energy. Just nothing but good things and good times. So WrestleMania is probably my favorite day of the year, and it's just and this year we have an absolutely awesome card heading in. Really no sleeper matches on this one. Every single match looks like it's going to be fire and potentially be one of the best matches on the card. So it's I can't wait. So let's get right into the preview. I'm going to talk about the Hall of Fame class to start off. Just mention every inductee and say a little bit about them. But just give me 1 second after that intro. I got to grab something to drink. Thank you. Okay, WWE Hall of Fame class of 2018. This is a great class. Every inductee that goes in every year is deserving, but this year there's so many big names that easily could have headlined 3 or 4 different classes with the names that are in this one. Kicking it off with the headliner, the man Goldberg. And, absolutely a, first ballot Hall of Famer, if there is such a thing as that. Everyone talks about Austin and The Rock as the biggest stars of the Attitude Era, and well, that's absolutely true. Goldberg has to be mentioned up there because, during the peak of his run, he was absolutely, as hot as Austin and The Rock. He was on that TV Guide cover that Austin The Rock got on, and I mean, people... as the further we get away from, the VCR age, things like that, it's the significance of, things like being on the cover of TV Guide are getting lost. But man, back in the day, everybody had a TV Guide in their house. So if you were on the cover, you were basically in everybody's house that month. So, getting the cover of TV Guide was huge, and they didn't usually touch wrestling with a 10-foot pole. So, getting on that cover is a huge accomplishment. And, Goldberg was one of the stars that they picked to be on it. So, his his run, his run at the top, I guess, wasn't as long as others maybe, but his run when he was on top was just as hot. Maybe not just as hot, but, right up there with some of the hottest runs in the history of the business. Excuse me. And his original run in WWE definitely sucked. It was, it was. It didn't seem like he had his heart in it. And at the same time, WWE didn't really seem like they were wanting to let him be Goldberg and push him as a really dominant force like they were willing to in his second run. I always look back to the SummerSlam Elimination Chamber, and it seemed like they'd finally got the WWE fans totally behind him, and if that was the moment to pull the trigger, they didn't. They ended up doing it the next month, but don't want to go back and relive the bad stuff, but it's there was some good things in that. That first Goldberg run, he got to have he got to finally have a pay-per-view match with Chris Jericho, so that was a good thing. He had a good match with The Rock, and he did some other fun stuff. So that first run was it definitely was probably more negative, but there was some still good. But the second run was just totally awesome. That him beating Brock Lesnar, lighting Brock up at Survivor Series like that is one of the most shocking moments in wrestling history for me. Like, I was expecting the exact opposite, so my jaw hit the floor when I was watching and I saw that. Like, it was just. I just couldn't believe that. It was, it was exciting. It was just like, man, like, wow, this is Goldberg. Like, now, now we're seeing Goldberg. So it was, and then, he was. I wish he would have had more of a match with Kevin Owens, but it is what it is. And he ended up having a really awesome match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I mean, for kind of as good as a match that Goldberg and Brock are going to have, and as for a match that's under 10 minutes, can't really ask for much more than that. It was just pretty much nonstop action from the start. So. I'm glad he was able to come back and redeem himself, and show his wife and son, who Goldberg the superhero was, and let them experience, the Goldberg chance. It was awesome that the WWE universe embraced him. Didn't try and just to be snarky or whatever, just boo him, just to kind of because that's the opposite of what they want. It's like everyone got on board, was all on with the Goldberg chance. It was just a great run to finish up and lead into this Hall of Fame going into the Hall of Fame. So it's just really happy for Goldberg, and just looking back, his best match, biggest moment, probably that Nitro match with Hogan. They should have built it up more, but when I'm watching some of these documentaries and realizing that they didn't get a cut of the pay-per-view, like that went to another part of Turner. They like saw a lot from the TV. So really, I mean, it makes more sense to do it on Nitro if they're not seeing any of the benefits from the pay-per-view, because I mean, you build it up. It doesn't matter how big you build it up if you're not going to see any of, like, if that goes somewhere else, what's the point? It probably should have been built up over a few weeks, and you could have still done it on Nitro. But it is what it is. It's just history is history, and it was a big, great moment that popped a huge rating. So it's Goldberg definitely deserving of going into the Hall of Fame and being a headliner. So big cheers and congrats to Goldberg. Next inductees, the Dudley Boys. They're always one of my favorite tag teams to watch, and they are absolutely in the conversation for greatest tag team of all time, because they were ECW tag team champions. They were legends there. Came to WWE, became multiple time tag team champions. Legends in WWE. Went to TNA, became tag team champions there. Legends in TNA. So they were legends everywhere they went. And for me, it's really you're really hard pressed to find a bad Dudley Boys match. That's what I always liked about Bubba and Devon, was that they always seemed to be able to kind of work to the best of their opponents and bring the best matches out of them. Their offense was always entertaining, and the way that they were able to sell for people, like, it was believable, and it engaged you in the match. So it was. I always liked when the Dudley Boys were on TV, because I knew I was going to be entertained. I knew I wasn't going to be bored or want to look away. So I'm glad they're getting a Hall of Fame nomination. I'm glad they're going into the Hall of Fame this year. I really wish that they would have got to win one more tag team title. I think it would have got them a record. I think they would have got them a record for some kind of record. But it is what it is. They still had a great great little return run. And I think their tag team in ring days are behind them, but they are absolutely a legendary team. And when you're talking about the greatest tag teams of all time, you have to talk about the Dudley Boys. So they were always one of my favorite tag teams, and I'm really glad to see that they're getting the recognition they deserve. And the next inductee going in, J-E-F-F, J-A-R-R-E-T-T, Jeff Jarrett. And oh my God, I hated his guts when he was in the WWF feuding with Razor Ramon. There's not most for me when I was looking at the bad, when I was watching the bad guys, most of the time I'd be booing them and stuff, but I'd always be in the back of my mind like, I wish he'd turn good. I can't wait till he turns good. There were a select few heels that I just absolutely could not stand. I didn't want them to turn good. I don't like you, and I want bad things to happen to you. And Jeff Jarrett was one of those heels. Oh, I couldn't stand him. And the fact that he always seemed to get the upper hand on Razor and won the Intercontinental title from him, that, oh man, made me go out of my mind. And then the fact that Razor just could never win the title back from him was just, he was really he really is one of the best heels of my generation, his generation, because he just had that ability to make you hate him, but in an entertaining way. It wasn't like you hated him and it made you, I don't know, like some people, you hate them, you don't want to watch them, you don't want to give them your time or your energy. It's like you just be like, like you can beat it. But there's some people where they're entertaining, they make you love to hate them. So it's like, excuse me, even though they're bringing up negative emotions, it's still, you're not holding on to them, because it's like this person's entertaining and you're enjoying getting some emotions and energy brought out of you. So Jeff Jarrett is really, really a great heel, and I really think that Steve Austin made a mistake in not working with Jeff Jarrett in 1999, because man, a feud between those two would have been just absolute fire. And man, if Jeff Jarrett would have stolen the title from Steve Austin, people would have given everything they owned to see Austin beat the hell out of him and take that title back. Like, I think they would have made so much money together, just because Jeff Jarrett was hot then. People hated him, but in an entertaining way. It was fun to go to the arenas and boo him, and hopefully watch him get beat up. And in a feud with Steve Austin, and especially you give him few victories, he steals the title, and Austin just can't get his hands on him. When he finally does, the roof would have came off. It's just, Jeff Jarrett was just, I think he's, he gets a lot of flack for some of the things, and things he's done, because he was the owner of a company and stuff, because of his family. But he really was a really, really great heel. And and you have to give him credit for being the owner of TNA and giving a whole another generation of wrestlers a chance, like a place to work and a place to, and not only just a place to work, but a significant, they were on pay-per-view there in the first few years. I bought some of those weekly TNA pay-per-views, the Canada versus the US one. Man, that was an awesome pay-per-view. I remember. I wanted to support them. I wanted to support wrestling. So I bought some of those weekly pay-per-views, and then they got on the Spike TV, and so they were giving guys a chance to perform on national television. And so Jeff Jarrett really needs to be commended for what he. TNA, TNA is what it is. It's it was basically like just. It's just a heartbreakingly missed potential, but it was a great thing. It still is a great thing now. The guys have taken it over and really doing good stuff with it as Impact Wrestling. But Jeff Jarrett he has a great legacy with TNA, has a great legacy in the wrestling industry, and he could easily have been a headliner for a Hall of Fame class. But I'm really glad to see him going in and getting the recognition that he deserves. Next inductee going in, Ivory. Always one of my favorite divas in the women's wrestlers in the Attitude Era, and she was just so great as a character, both in and out of the ring. It didn't matter. When she was in the ring wrestling, she was a great character. But she also was able to transfer that to the outside and be a great character as well. In RTC and stuff like that. She just had so much talent, and she just knew wrestling. So you know, like some people can only do it in ring and they can't transfer that to the like outside stuff, and some people are great on the outside of the ring and could never transfer that inside. But she's one of those talents that was easily able, seemed like it was easily able to do both. She was just so entertaining, and it seemed so natural when she was wrestling or when she was playing her character. So you know, it's just a shame that she, you know, she didn't get to come up and be in her prime in this generations of women's wrestling, when, you know, it's all about the in-ring action. There's so much great women's wrestling talent, you know, like there was, I'm not saying that, you know, like that the women's wrestling wasn't entertaining back then, because it certainly was, you know, like all the women worked hard, and you can see that. And when you see people trying hard and working, trying their best, and, you know, trying their absolute hardest, you know, it's entertaining. You're able to enjoy that. And even though it's not, you know, it's not going to win any wrestling, you know, match of the years or anything like that. It was still, you know, still a great product for its time. And, you know, but it's just a shame Ivory didn't get to, you know, wrestle with some of these, you know, women's wrestlers that we have today. But, you know, considering that they were in the business at the same time, it really sucks that we never got to see Ivory versus Medusa. You know, if the politics wouldn't have been there, maybe Medusa could have come into the company, you know, with the WCW invasion, and we could have got to see Medusa versus Ivory. That would have been an amazing match. But unfortunately, it's just one of those things where we just gotta, you know, just write it off to it is what it is. But, you know, I'm really happy, and I'm just happy to see her going in and getting to be, you know, mentioned alongside or with some of the greats of women's wrestling. I didn't want to see her forgotten or lost in the shuffle, so happy to see her, you know, get her spotlight in the Hall of Fame. Next inductee.
That's what I do!
Mark Henry. Man, this is another one. Could easily be a headliner for the Hall of Fame class, but, you know, just once again, it's just so awesome to see him get to go in the Hall of Fame, because, man, there was a time where if you mentioned Mark Henry as a Hall of Famer, people would have rolled their eyes or laughed and just, you know, said that'll never happen. Like, and you know, there was a point in time where he had not put in, you know, kind of put together the career that he needed to become a Hall of Famer. But, you know, that's the thing. He never gave, no matter how down on him people got, or no matter how many people got off his bandwagon, he kept grinding, he kept pushing, he kept striving to get better. And, you know, eventually he got himself into great shape, and, you know, he buckled down, and, you know, he was ready to go. And, you know, everybody saw it, and it was just like, you know, you saw this freight train finally, you know, start to reach that potential and really start moving. And that's when, you know, he went on the World Heavyweight Championship run and did the Hall of Pain. And it's just like, this is the Mark Henry we've been waiting for. Like, this is this is what we've all been, this is what everyone always saw in him. It was just, you know, so frustrated that that wasn't coming out of him, and it was like finally. And I remember, man, when he beat Randy Orton, it's just, he just didn't think it would happen, and bam, World's Strongest Slam, 1, 2, 3. Mark Henry is World Heavyweight Champion. That was a great moment, and it's just, you know, that's the thing that, and I mean, even though I say he hadn't put together like a Hall of Fame stuff in his career to be in the Hall of Fame up until that point, you know, he still did good stuff, and he was still, you know, a good wrestler. But that's the thing, everyone just knew there was so much more in him, and there was so much more potential. So, you know, when you know that someone has that in them, it's like you just can't settle for mediocrity. And that's kind of what, you know, Mark Henry seemed like he was getting a little bit too much into in his career, was, you know, dealing with mediocrity. So, you know, he's a great example of, you just don't ever give up on yourself, no matter how many other people do, and you just keep grinding, keep going, and, you know, eventually, you know, you'll get to where you need to be. So it's awesome to see him going in, and it's you know, if Braun needs a partner, you know, I'm sure that the Hall of Pain might be willing to accept 2 more members, but those days might be over. But, you know, it's just awesome to see Mark Henry going in the Hall of Fame, because, you know, there was a time where it might not have seemed possible, but, you know, he is an absolutely not only a worthy Hall of Famer, could easily have been a headliner. So big cheers and congrats to Mark Henry. And the next inductee going in, always one of my favorites, Hillbilly Jim. Don't go messing with a country boy, country boy, country boy. Don't go messing with a country boy, don't mess with a country boy. Oh man, absolutely epic theme song. And, you know, he is just one of those wrestlers and characters that just kind of just is everything you think of when you think 80s WWF, you know. Like when I was telling my dad who was going in the Hall of Fame this year, and I didn't say Hillbilly's name. I just sang the theme song, and he's like, he couldn't. He had his finger on it, but he just couldn't remember the name. I said 80s WWF, and as soon as I said that, he's like, bang, Hillbilly Jim. And it's like, that's the thing, some people might say, oh, like, how low are they, or how low are they lowering the bar with Hillbilly Jim? But no, man, you gotta just get that talk out of here, because, wrestling is, obviously wrestling is a big, I mean, it is the in-ring work in the wrestling, but there is a lot more to it, especially, in sports, sports entertainment and WWF. So it's like, Hillbilly Jim was, he was such a great character. He had such a good energy. He just seemed like such a nice guy, and he just seemed like a guy that you wanted to be around. He just wanted to, it just seemed like he had a real great energy to him. He was a great character. He was a great manager after he retired, and he worked on. He performed at WrestleMania, so it's, Hillbilly Jim is one of those guys that just, he's such a part of the 80s WWF that he has to go into the Hall of Fame. I mean, there's, it's just, I know some people might argue it, but for me, Hillbilly Jim is a Hall of Fame, is a no doubt Hall of Famer. So big congrats to Hillbilly Jim. And the next inductee, his name is Kid Rock. Kid Rock, oh man, Kid Rock's my boy, but I have a love-hate relationship with it as well. His music is absolutely the soundtrack of my youth. Devil Without a Cause, listen to that, probably 1,000 times. And his other CDs, hundreds of times. And, I was always a big Kid Rock fan, but when you see the real person, sometimes some of his views definitely clash with mine. So but not really here to talk about that. I as Kid Rock, the musician, the artist, I'm definitely a fan. And his, people might say, oh, Kid Rock going in the Hall of Fame, what is that? But this isn't just he's been on WWE once and we're putting him in or something like that. His music has actually significantly contributed to the WWE products. Like the Lonely Road of the video, the WWF Desire video to Lonely Road of Faith, when that Ric Flair brought out when he was trying to tell Vince not to bring in the NWO. Man, I remember how excited that video got people, around the internet and around just all wrestling fans. I remember how excited that video got people. It kind of lit the fire under everyone again, reminded everyone that why we became fans, and just remember, that's probably a big. I mean, Hogan would have got a similar reaction that he got anyways, but that video kind of poured gas on the fire, because, like I say, it just reminded us of why we became wrestling fans, and it was just such a great video that it really gave a boost to WWF fans at the time. So it made a significant contribution to the product at the time. And then at Judgment Day in the Attitude Era in 2000, when The Undertaker came back to his music, and man, that was just one of the best moments with that Kid Rock music blaring in the background, and then Taker just riding down, just speeding down the aisle on the bike, and the crowd just losing their minds and behind him. It's just, man, that was one of the craziest moments of the Attitude Era. And Kid Rock was a big part of that. And it's just so his music has not, this isn't just a token Hall of Fame. His music has made a significant contribution to the Hall of Fame, or to the WWE and to WWF. And I really the Celebrity Wing basically is if you showed up on WWE TV once, you're eligible to go in. But I really feel like this is a deserving Hall of Fame nomination. As Kid, I'm sure. I haven't seen the Hall of Fame yet, but I'm sure Kid Rock got an interesting reception. But I'm definitely happy to see him in the Hall of Fame, and big cheers and congrats to Kid Rock. And the last Hall of Fame inductee is certainly not the least, the man, the newest Warrior Award winner, the man, Jarius J.J. Robertson. And this guy definitely, is definitely everything that the Warrior Award represents. I've known of him from from his stuff from the New Orleans Saints, and just so inspiring and so great. And it's awesome to see him kind of be brought into the WWE family, and we'll get to see him at the WWE events and stuff like that, and he'll get to share and all that positivity, that the good stuff with the WWE family. So it's great to see. It's great to see him get this award, and just what a I mean, what an absolute warrior he's been for his entire life. Going through 2 transplants, fighting through. To be, and always not. At least in public, always with a smile on his face. I know the battle hasn't always been easy to put a smile on his face, but it's just like he's still able to tough it out, and he's still able to keep moving forward, and that's enabled him to be where he is today. And it's just so awesome to see. Anybody out there watching this, sign your organ donor card. It's so important. Once we die, our physical bodies are useless. Our soul transfers back to our consciousness transfers back to our soul. So why not if our organs can help other people live, why would we not want to do that? And a lot of states don't have automatic organ donation. It's like you have to go out of your way to say that you want to. So a lot of people don't even know that. So a lot of organs and a lot of things that could save people's lives just they're just get wasted because people just don't know that and people just aren't thinking about it or aren't prepared. So if you're watching this, you just try sign your organ donor card. Try to get everyone to sign it, and just the more people that do, the more chances to save lives that we're gonna have if anything tragic ever happens to any of us. So it's very important. And if you look at warriors like JJ, it gives people like him a chance at life, and that is absolutely worth it when all you have to do is just sign a little card. So definitely sign your organ donor card, and always support our Warrior Award winners, and especially this year for JJ Robertson. He's got such a great spirit, and he's got such a charisma to him that I could one day I could definitely see him taking over, hosting one of the Tonight shows or something like that. He's got that spirit to him, and he's got that that energy that you just want to be around him, and you want to talk to him. So it's like I'm really excited, and excited to see what he does, what he's able to do with his life as he grows up. So it's big cheers and congrats to JJ for getting into the Hall of Fame, and for receiving the Warrior Award. And so that is the entire list of inductees for this year's Hall of Fame. Like I say, a really stacked class. It could have easily headlined 3 or 4 classes with all the names in this class. But it's just great to see all these deserving people get the recognition they deserve. And Hall of Fame is always a great night, just celebrating careers, and just getting a chance to just give people one more chance at the spotlight, and just one more chance to really feel the love from the WWE universe and their peers. So really great class this year. And now, before I move on to the preview for the actual WrestleMania 34 card, just want to talk about a few things for the future Hall of Fames. I want to talk about China. Now, China's a very controversial subject for the Hall of Fame. Should she go in? Should she not? She's done some, definitely things that, would not be looked on favorably if people were searching her name, things like that. However, you know what? For me, when you look at her life, she did not hurt anybody but herself. She didn't commit any crimes. She didn't kill anyone. She didn't steal from anyone. She didn't hurt anybody but herself. And yes, she did make some bad decisions, and decisions that we all wish she wouldn't have made. But that's the thing. We all know how we can all look at our own lives and know that it's hard to live life sometimes. And sometimes people go through things where they get pushed away from the best version of themselves, and sometimes they don't even know it, and they do things that they would never normally do, but they find themselves doing because of sometimes because of drugs and alcohol and other influences. Unfortunately, that's what happened to China. So And just when because she didn't hurt anybody but herself, and she didn't commit any crimes or anything. So I don't think that we need to just focus on remembering her by the negative things. There's so much good about her. She was just such a I never met her, but everyone that knows her just said she was just the sweetest, loving, kindest person. That it was just heartbreaking to see her taken down by the demons that got a hold of her. But it's like she had all these. Had a big positive contribution to the wrestling business. Everyone loves her. She had great matches. She was a huge part of making DX what it was. And she was the first woman to do so many things and just broke down so many barriers. And she is a Hall of Famer. She has to be in the Hall of Fame. And now, and especially now that she's passed, it's like we as wrestling fans, China's our girl. It's like we got to support her. We got to have her back. She didn't hurt anyone. So we got to just try and erase these the most negative parts of her life, and get people to remember her by the most positive. And she deserves that, because she was a really great person. That's the thing, as a society, we always seem to look to the negative and hold on to the negative things that people have done and parts of people. But we really need to start moving towards as long as people aren't hurting people or not committing crimes, it's like then you can forget about the negative parts and just try and accentuate the best parts of them and remember the positive things. And that's what I think we need to do with China. And she has such positive things, has made such a positive contribution, that it's and it's part of me feels guilty even when she goes in. I know I'll feel guilty that it wasn't able to happen while she was alive, because people that were close to her say she thought that nobody appreciated her. Nobody remembered her contributions. That's just really heartbreaking to know that she was thinking that in her final days. So but she absolutely deserves to go in, and I don't think you need to wait much longer. I mean, the longer you wait, the less impact it has from her in-ring career, especially now that she's passed. So I want to see China go in as soon as possible. Rest in peace, China. And another thing for down the road in the future, these Hall of Fame classes are getting so big and so stacked that eventually I'm sure it's either gonna get to a time where there's not gonna be a Hall of Fame one year, or they're gonna have to figure out something else. Like one of the things I thought they might be able to do is start inducting matches. And that way you start inducting matches every year, and you could just put in obviously a lot of the greats have had so many matches, you could induct them every year, but so, you could put stipulations on, like one person can't go in 2 or 3 years in a row or something like that. But, matches could be really cool, because not only does it give people multiple chances to be celebrated, and that's the thing, for wrestlers, once you get the taste of that, that adrenaline from being in front of the crowd and walking through the curtain, it's like that never goes away. So it's like that's tough to just put on the shelf. So the more guys are able to come back and have a big celebration, get a little taste of it again, it's just a good thing. It just celebrates and just breeds positivity and good energy. So the other thing about matches is not only does give a chance to celebrate multiple Hall of Famers, but it allows you to celebrate people that might not be going into might not be in the position to go in the Hall of Fame on their own, but did have one great match at one time, or multiple, and through the great match can have a moment at the Hall of Fame to be celebrated. So it could be a chance to celebrate guys that might not be going in on their own, but did have Hall of Fame contributions in the form of some big matches and stuff like that. So could be an idea going forward if they start running out of names to induct. And the last point for future Hall of Fames is Owen Hart. I know that his family, obviously is a big disdain for wrestling, putting it lightly, and they want nothing to do with it, and WWE and everything. But it's just you just can't you can't bury and ignore what Owen did and what he loved. Owen loved wrestling. He was great at wrestling, and that was his life's work, whether anybody likes it or not. So, he deserves to be celebrated and mentioned alongside these names of these Hall of Famers, the greatest of all times, alongside his brother. How proud would his mom would Stu and Helen be to see two of their sons inducted into the Hall of Fame, and Owen he deserves it. And I know Martha wouldn't be anywhere near it, but if his kids deserve to be around and get to hear the stories and feel that some of that energy that some of the people that knew their father can give to them, that they received through Owen. And it's like, to be able to hear these stories and to receive, to hug these people and to just, it's just being a great wrestler is who Owen was, and a great wrestler deserves to go in the Hall of Fame. So I really hope that, Martha doesn't have to be there. They just have to give the blessing to allow it to go in. And I'm sure WWE makes sure all the proceeds from everything around Owen's name go absolutely to his family, because that's what Owen would want, and that's what is right, and that's what always happens. But it's just, I just really hope that they let it happen, because Owen, you can't ignore and bury who Owen was, and even though, it was wrestling that led to his death, but in a way, but, at the same time, it was wrestling that, gave him his life. So it's, and Owen was so much more than wrestling. I don't want to say that, but it's just he was a Hall of Fame wrestler, and he deserves to go in the Hall of Fame. So I really hope they just give their blessing and let Owen Hart go into the Hall of Fame one day. So that'll bring me to the end of the discussion about the Hall of Fame class of 2018 and beyond. So we'll get right into WrestleMania. Just 1 second for another sip. Thank you. Alrighty, let's get right into the big one. Preview for WrestleMania 34. Man, WrestleMania, my favorite day of the year, as I said at the start. And what a great card that we have going into this one. Probably the best card on paper we've had going into a WrestleMania, since WrestleMania 30, but one of the best in a long, long time. So I cannot wait for Sunday. It's going to be awesome. 7 hours long with the kickoff show, but for me, lots of people complain about that, but I can't get enough. It could be 10 hours, and I'd be loving it. So, I can't wait for Sunday. But let's get right into the preview, because it's a big card, and I've already gone along with the Hall of Fame. And looking at it, there are really no weak points on this card at all. Like I say, there's no sleepers. Excuse me. There's no real break matches or anything like that. Every match on this card looks like it's gonna smoke and have good crowd energy behind it. So and every single match could easily steal the show. So this is teed up to be one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. So let's get right into it. We already know which 3 matches are going to be on the kickoff show this year. So let's talk about the first one. I can't believe this one is going to be on the kickoff show, but it is. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal will be on the kickoff show. And man, with the HBO documentary coming out and all of the attention that is on that, I'm just so surprised that there wasn't more emphasis put on the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And I'm just, I thought the Andre this year would be, really have a big spotlight put on it, and maybe have some big names, some legends coming back, announced for it. They want that spotlight, and to get that to be the name everyone's looking at when they're researching the Andre the Giant after the HBO documentary, and they see who the winner of the Battle Royal is. It's just a chance to get more mainstream eyes on your product that might not normally be watching. So to me, it's just a wasted opportunity. And one of my biggest things I was looking forward to, since the Andre is on Rusev Day this year, I was really hoping that my boy Rusev would be able to get the win, but it looks like he's not going to be in it, and there will be no winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on Rusev Day. So I'm very disappointed about that. but you know, it is what it is, and so you know. You know, if Rusev's not going to be in it, there's, you know, lots of good potential winners other than Rusev. You know, you got Mojo and Baron Corbin, who are both looking to become the first two-time winners. Both of those guys could definitely use a boost and being a two-time winner. So, looking for them to be one of the ones that could come out with the win. Woken Matt Hardy could use could use a big win. You know, like be awesome to hear him trumpeting about winning. What does he call it? Humongous Wonder number 8 or whatever. You know, this could be a great thing for him and his character to have. Goldust, you know, has been, you know, I guess probably being like probably in the putting on the consistently the best performances of his career right now. I mean, he's just awesome in the ring. Like, you know, and that's the thing, you can't appreciate Goldust until you see him live. Like, well, I got to see him live at the live event here in Regina a few months ago, and he was he's so smooth and crisp and everything. You know, it's just you don't appreciate him until you see him live. So, you know, this could be a great thing to give him, you know, as a nice, you know, and as a nice way to, you know, I don't want to say put a cap on his career, because like I say, he's putting in the best performances, so I think he's far from done. But, you know, he definitely is, you know, one of the veterans getting older, so, you know, he's probably going to have to fight a lot harder for a featured role. So, you know, giving him a win in the Andre, you know, might be something that they could actually, you know, work out for him. And, you know, since it's on the kickoff show and they might not be, you know, too invested in who wins it, it could be something. It's gonna be a good victory for Goldust to have. Or, you know, you could also, like, it could be cool to see it come down to the Revival. They said they want to be the first tag team to win it. So, you know, if it comes down to them, will they duke it out, or will they try and just make them declare both the Revival as the winner of the Andre somehow? So it'll be, you know, there's lots of options for the winner. You know, I really think though the Andre could benefit by if you put like a reward, some kind of reward, or a reward. Give some kind of reward to the winner, just to make it a little bit more prestigious, and to, you know, to make it a little bit more of a, you know, something that people want to win. And you know, I'm sure they don't want to marry their SummerSlam plans to the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So, you know, saying that the winner gets a title shot at SummerSlam is probably not practical to do. So, you know, there's already a Money in the Bank. So, you know, saying the winner gets a title shot anytime is probably not smart. One of the things they could do with it, however, is say that the winner of the Andre every year gets a title shot on the Raw after WrestleMania. So, you know, or a WWE or Universal title shot on the Raw or SmackDown live after WrestleMania. So, you know, that way, you know, the winner of the Andre gets to have a big match on a big show like the Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania, with a big, hot, intense crowd like that. You know, with a lot of eyes on the show that's bigger than normal. You know, but at the same time, it's not gonna, you know, it shouldn't ruin any plans or anything like that. It's just gonna be a big match, title match, and, you know, and then sometimes you can pull the trigger and give the winner the, you know, a title run. And, you know, sometimes they come up short, but at least it's something, you know. And then it would give people some reason to look forward to the Andre, and then, you know, people already look forward to the Raw and SmackDown live after WrestleMania. But now it would be like, man, now we get a guaranteed world title match, or, you know, so it's, you know, it could be something cool to add into the whole WrestleMania weekend type thing. But, you know, I really feel they should try and add something to the winner to make it, you know, make it a little bit more prestigious. I don't want to disrespect Andre. You know, it's, you know, winning his battle royal in his memory is, you know, prestigious enough. But, you know, just but that's my idea. You know, just to make it for something. And now the next match on the card is the other battle royal, which would be the women's battle royal. And, you know, I saw on Reddit that Chris Jericho texted Vince McMahon that he had an idea for the new name for it after they changed it. He thought it should be called the Sensational Invitational and be named after Sherry Martel. And to me, there's no other name now. That is what it is. It is the Sensational Invitational. Like, that is an amazing name, and there's just no other name. So that is what is. So that's what I'm gonna call it. And, you know, hats off to Jericho for that one. But from the response from Vince, it didn't sound like he was particularly enthused by it. And it's you can almost like feel the loathing coming from Stanford towards this match now after they had to change the name from the Moolah Battle Royal. And but it really was the right thing to do. And I really thank Snickers for stepping up, helping us fight the good fight. And I know Moolah had a special relationship with the McMahons. I'm sure he sees her more like a like a grandmother figure. So it's hard for him to hear some of these things if he wasn't aware of them before. But it's just it was just the right thing to do. And I'm after changing it, I knew that we weren't going to get it named after another female, but I really wanted it to be Sherry. But now that Jericho's thrown the sensational invitational out there, that is what it is. Because once you hear that name, there is no other name for it. So. But I'm really glad to see this battle royal is going down. So all the women that have worked so hard throughout the year can at least get on the card, get on the WrestleMania card, and have a performance on the show. Obviously, WrestleMania isn't about who deserves it; it's about who gets on the card. But at the same time, all these women work so hard, and it's if you're able to do something like have a battle royal. It's nice that they actually go through it then and put this on the card. So with it being the first one, it's there's another historic moment for whoever wins it. I'm kind of hoping that it comes down to Sasha and Bailey with the story that they've been building. That could be pretty interesting. But this could be definitely a big moment to give to an up and coming star like a Liv Morgan or a Mandy Rose or even a Lana or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top because this is. They'll be the winner of the first ever Sensational Invitational. So it should be a big moment. And the last match that's going to be on the kickoff show for the Cruiserweight Championship, Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. And I'm just the story of these guys, and just hearing them talk about how much they love wrestling, how much they want it to be on WrestleMania, perform on WrestleMania. It's awesome to see. This is what WrestleMania is all about. Like seeing wrestlers and guys like this get their moment and perform on the biggest stage and realize their dreams. So it's gonna be awesome to see these guys perform on the biggest stage. And these guys go all out on 205 Live, so I can't even imagine what they're gonna do on WrestleMania. And both these guys want so badly to carve their name into in their legacy into the wrestling business, into WrestleMania, to be remembered amongst the greats. And this is their first chance, and I know both of these guys are going to do everything they can to make the most of it. And I wish they were on the main card, but that's like the main pre-show is going to be on the USA Network, so millions of eyes are going to be on it. At the same time, like even though when you look at the grand scheme of things, and you look back on the card, the WrestleMania card is what it is, and then you break it down to the pre-show when you're showing it. But the card is what the card is, and and these guys are on the WrestleMania 34 card, so it's it's a big accomplishment, and no shame at all being on the pre-show. But the winner coming out of this has a lot of pressure on them to continue to carry the level of top quality performances that 205 Live has been dishing out lately, because the champion's got to be the best, the champion's got to be working with the best, the champion's got to be setting the tone. So with there have been great matches in the tournament. There have been great matches on 205 Live. Another just a smoke show between Buddy Murphy and Kalisto on 205 Live. I mean, so the champion coming out of this has big pressure to keep their game elevated to a high level. But I know either Cedric or Mustafa are both up to the task, and I just can't wait to see these guys clash on the biggest stage, and have their first attempt at carving their legacy into WrestleMania. And so that will bring it. So that is it for the kickoff show, and now we're into the main card for WrestleMania 34. Now I'm going to kind of go through this based on the way I think the card should be laid out from top to bottom. I mean, obviously I don't have to worry about other segments or timing or anything like that. I'm just picking matches and things and the way I want the card to be laid out. But so that's how we talk about it. So match I think that should be opening the show for the U.S. title. the champion Randy Orton taking on versus Bobby Roode versus Jinder Mahal versus Rusev. And I've really been enjoying this U.S. title feud between the three, like Orton, Roode, and Jinder. And but now that Rusev's added to this, it just makes it just that much better. And even though I was disappointed that Rusev couldn't be in the Andres, considering the Andres on Rusev Day, we also know that WrestleMania this year is on Rusev Day. So this is another chance to have that epic moment, and it would come full circle for Rusev. He last time WrestleMania was in New Orleans, he lost the U.S. title to John Cena, and now 4 years later, WrestleMania is back in New Orleans. He wins the U.S. title, and 70,000 plus chanting Rusev Day would be an amazing moment. So it's excuse me. I'm looking forward to this match. It's going to be great with all four guys. All four of these guys can go, and all four are going to be wanting to stake their claim and put their match as the one that steals the show. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all these guys work hard, and really and honestly the only outcome I really don't want to see is Randy Orton retaining, because I'm a Randy Orton fan, but I just think they got to get a lot better in the stories that they write for him, and the way they put him into the way they present his character. And like for me, like that's the thing, he wants to be a heel. If next time Randy Orton is a heel, no RKO, gone, new finisher, no, and not, you don't break it out until you're a babyface again. But that's the thing. As long as he has the RKO, he'll never be a heel. So I'm a fan of Randy Orton. I just think he needs to be presented, a little bit better. And need to think a little bit more about how you're presenting him based on what the reaction you want to get. If you want him to be a heel, no RKO. But just had to say that. But that's really the only outcome I wouldn't really want, because Randy got his Grand Slam moment at Fastlane, and he got his big moment at WrestleMania last year. So really the other three guys could use this moment to help establish their career and elevate themselves a lot more than he needs it. So I'm looking for Bobby Roode, Jinder or Rusev to win the title here, and it's going to be awesome to see the glorious entrance on the WrestleMania stage, and it's going to be great to see Jinder and the Singh brothers. Too bad both Singh brothers won't be able to be there, but at least one will be able to be there. They kind of done the same thing as Zelina Vega did for Andrade Cien Almas. They've really helped turn Jinder into a main event level act, and they really help elevate the Jinder's act and make him more legit. They really make him come off good. So it's going to be great to see them get their WrestleMania entrance. And I'm just really looking forward to this match. And like I say, WrestleMania is on Rusev Day this year, so I'm kind of looking for Rusev to come out of this. But if any of the three, Jinder, Bobby, or Rusev win, I'll be happy. But it's definitely going to be a great match. Okay, next match on the card for the Raw Women's title, the champion Alexa Bliss taking on Nia Jax. And they turned this into a really good story, starting out as the best friends and making it as, Alexa was just using her, and, eventually when she was done using her and realized she couldn't control her, tried to kind of break her down emotionally and, just kind of crush her spirits. But Nia Jax is definitely, she's been presented as so strong. It was a little bit tough to see her kind of vulnerable, but she did a great job at pulling it off. And, it was able to show a little bit of her vulnerable side, and at the same time bring the strength out of that last interview on Raw. So, it's been a really interesting feud between Nia and Alexa. And, it's going to be, but I'm really interested to see how they lay this match out and how it goes, with the size difference and, how it's been presented as, Nia's this, runaway train, and, Alexa's basically like, just like a tumbleweed coming and, blowing at the train. So it's like, I'm interested to see how this match goes, if it'll, it's, one idea I kind of had to be, they could have Mickie James hide under the ring like Ted DiBiase did at WrestleMania 6, and jump Nia from behind at start and take out her knee or something like that, and that would give Nia a big injury to start off the match, and that would give give Alexa a platform to kind of base her offense on throughout the whole match. And, make Nia look really vulnerable and have to make her make a comeback. So but I'm interested to see what they kind of do to how they lay out this match, and to see what kind of a match they put together, because it's an interesting contrast between the two. But I think it's going to be really good. Both women have been able to step up their game in big match situations, and this is the biggest match situations. And I know they do not want to be left behind on this card. So, I'm looking for big things from both of them. And with the rhetoric of the feud, I definitely think that Nia should win. It's for her to come up short with with the stuff Alexa said. It's kind of doesn't really come off very good. But it would be a great moment to see Nia win. But Alexa has walked into impossible situations before and walked out with the title. So it's not up in the air. It's not a slam dunk that Nia's gonna win. Definitely could go either way. But should be a great match. And next match, excuse me one more time. Thank you. Okay, next match for the Raw Tag Team titles. Champions, The Bar, taking on Braun Strowman, and who knows? So, I really wish that Braun was in the main event with Brock, and the Revival was in this spot with The Bar, and they were going, team versus team, having a great, one. Do you say 1-on-1 with tag teams or 2-on-2? I don't know. One-on-1 tag team match, and between the Revival and The Bar, they would have just brought the house down. But it is what it is, and now we got this storyline. With Braun having a mystery partner coming in, and it probably could have done maybe better things with the whole thing, but at the same time, this whole mystery partner thing definitely has created a lot of intrigue, and it really the door is wide open. It could be literally anybody. I mean, you could get crazy and bring in a crazy name like Hulk Hogan. All he has to do is stand on the apron, really. I mean, I don't think he can drop the leg anymore, but if he can raise his foot and someone can run into his boot and Braun can drop the leg or something like that. But that's the thing, you could do something crazy like that, or, you could bring in any other legend or something like that. You could bring in James Ellsworth. That would bring things kind of full circle, and, it'd be kind of cool to see him be the partner. You could bring in one of the returning stars, Samoa Joe or something like that. He could make a big splash on the return coming back. For me though, I'd probably say, if Drew McIntyre is ready to go, I think I'd probably make him the mystery partner, because, I think he's pretty much done with NXT, and he's ready to give have his run on the main roster, and he has history with Sheamus. They just never have had their own proper proper go in a feud. So I'd really like to see them have a chance to really go at it against each other, and I think it would be a good spot for Drew. But I'm not sure if they're really thinking about him for that spot, or no, if they think he'd make big enough impact. I think it would be a big impact, but that would probably be my pick. A couple of the names that I wasn't going to mention, but I should probably bring them up just because I thought they'd be cool, but unfortunately it's not going to happen. Chris Jericho, he was also mentioned if Shane McMahon couldn't go for Daniel Bryan's partner, but anytime Chris Jericho we can see him show up at a WrestleMania or something is awesome. But I believe he's a Fozzy gig that day, and he's hosting a WrestleMania party. So fortunately, looks like it's out of the question. But it would have been cool to see. And another name that I really wish would have happened was Batista. And that name was really out of kind of left field when I heard it. But Batista would have been awesome. Just him and Big Braun together, man. That would have been a team. And with the Infinity Wars movie coming out pretty soon, maybe he could have got the okay from Marvel to get all done up in the Drax paint and come out. Oh man, the crowd would have lost their minds if he came out as Drax. And that's the thing. Like when he had his run before, that was before Guardians of the Galaxy. Now he's got all that positive energy from the first two movies, and now Infinity Wars movie coming out this summer. So, excuse me. It's it's a shame that Batista won't be able to be at WrestleMania in any in any role, but it would have been really cool to see him as Braun's partner. But it could be anybody. It's I'm certainly going to be on the edge of my seat when when they're ready to announce who the partner is, because it's, I don't know, like they've kind of built things up to where it might be tough to live up to it. It might not. This is going to be interesting. I'm really excited to see who it is, and hopefully it's somebody that can have a great match with the Bar, because the Bar are one of the best tag teams that have come along in a long time. And I'm a huge fan of them, and I really want to see them have a great match at WrestleMania. And Braun needs a great match. If he's going to be elevating himself into the main event. So hopefully he has a partner that can really go and have a great match with the Bar. And the next match on the card for the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles, and we have the champions, the Usos, versus the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers. And finally, the Usos are on the main show, the main card of WrestleMania. And man, they have been the best tag team, arguably the best tag team in the world, probably for the last 4 or 5 years, never on WrestleMania. That is an absolute travesty. Finally, that has been rectified this year. They're on the main card, and they have just been having some of the greatest tag team matches of all time with the New Day. And and they had the match of the year, and I think it was 2013 with the Shield at the Money in the Bank pre-show. I mean, they just been having great matches after great matches after great matches, and never got onto WrestleMania. And now finally they're going to be on the show. They're the champions. They're carrying the titles in. It's just finally they're getting to the spotlight that they deserve on the biggest show of the year. I've really been loving this feud between the three teams. That beatdown at Fastlane was just awesome. Did not expect it at all, but man, it was awesome and effective. I'm really glad they're sticking with this Bludgeon Brothers thing, and they didn't just abandon it, and they're actually being serious and getting behind it seriously. Because Harper and Rowan are so good, they deserve so much more than they've gotten. And I just really wanted to see them get something that worked for them and allowed them to show people how good they are and to elevate their games to one of the best teams in the world, because they are two of the best in the world, and they just never had an opportunity to show it. Now they've finally had patience with the Bludgeon Brothers gimmick and stuck with it, and people have accepted it, and it's getting over great. They're coming into their own in it, and it's just it's awesome to see them come into their own, in this big moment at WrestleMania. And that's the thing. While the Bludgeon Brothers, they have been established as dominant, the other two teams have definitely been established as forces to be reckoned with. So this match is, it's not going to be, just one team dominating, the other two or anything like that. It should be a really, mixed up back and forth battle between all three teams, and it's just all three teams are everybody in this match is so good that this could be the match that steals the show, even with everything else on there, because they should get a good spot in the card with some great crowd reactions, and it's just with the Usos being their first WrestleMania match, and the Bludgeon Brothers needing to keep having great performances to make sure they keep getting the push behind them. And the New Day, they were the hosts last year. They lost to the League of Nations in the year before, so they're going to be motivated to really have a great performance. This really excited and looking forward to this match. And I'm thinking that it could be the Usos could come out of it. We could see the Usos win, because the Bludgeon Brothers don't. I'm thinking the Bludgeon Brothers are taking the titles sooner than later. If not here, then definitely next month. If they don't win them here, I'm thinking the Usos pin the New Day, or that's probably what it should be if that doesn't happen. If the Bludgeons don't win, but I'm probably thinking the Bludgeon Brothers walk out here with the titles. But like I said, I'm just excited for this match, and I can't wait to see it. And the next match on the card for the Intercontinental title, the champion, The Miz, versus Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. very, very high expectations for this match. You know, all three guys have good chemistry with each other, and you know, on their own and like the one-on-one combinations. So you know, this match should be, you know, just absolutely on fire in terms of crowd reaction. And you know, the Miz with his, you know, being a new father, new baby daughter, is going to be very, very motivated, you know, to put on a great performance. Seth Rollins wants to keep his momentum going that he's built from the gauntlet match, you know, everything else he's been doing on Raw and the great performances he's been putting in these last few months. And you know, Finn Balor, I think this is his first WrestleMania. I guess it is, because he got hurt, and then you know, I guess he was healthy for 33, but you know, they didn't put him on the show. So this is his first WrestleMania. So this is going to be, you know, Finn Balor's first chance with that big spotlight. And I'm wondering, will we see the Demon? There's been no mention of it, or no indication at all that it's coming. So, you know, you'd think that they might have kind of teased it a bit, but if it's coming, but you know, the Demon is a big it's a big stage gimmick, and the stage doesn't get bigger than WrestleMania. So we'll, you know, I'm thinking the Demon probably will show up, but you know, you never know. It could be, it could not, but it's going to be. Either way, I'm expecting a great performance from Finn Balor and just from every guy in this match. And you know, they've really helped elevate the Intercontinental title and start to bring it back to the levels, you know, that it used to be back in the 80s and stuff like that. And it just, you know, I'm a big fan of the Intercontinental title, so I really just want to see that momentum keep going upwards and upwards and upwards. So you know, this match. You know, this match is going to go a long way to helping with that. And you know, Seth Rollins will be motivated to steal the show. You know, Balor will be motivated to steal it. You know, Miz is always motivated to try and steal it. And you know, I know these guys are going to try and, you know, put on a match that, you know, has everybody talking about them when they leave the arena. So it's going to be. I'm just. As you know, it's going to sound like a broken record as I do this, but you know, I'm just really excited for every match. You know, when I break down every match and look at it, it's like, you know, I can't wait to see it. And that's what I mean. There's no sleepers on this card. There's no breaks. It's like every match, it's just it's one hit after the other. And you know, then you know, the other thing about this match is that, you know, the winner is completely up for grabs. You know, I could see the Miz, you know, retaining it. I could see Finn Balor getting the win. I could see Seth Rollins winning the title. You know, that's the thing. You know, with the winner not set in stone, like, these near falls are going to be just so hot, and it's just you know, we could be seeing something on the caliber of, you know, Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat. Because, you know, like, with the three guys in there, they could really do kind of some cool things with the near falls and, you know, that breaking things up and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of performance these guys, put in. Because I just know all three guys are at that level right now where they're right about to break through to, like, the highest level of their careers. And you know, all three guys are coming into their own, and it's you know, when you have things like that, that's something special. And you know, I really hope that, you know, it comes together for a really special match on Sunday. I really think it will. Okay, and then moving into the next match on the card for the SmackDown Live Women's title, the champion Charlotte Flair taking on Asuka. And in this match, the streak will also be on the line. And this match probably has one of the biggest spotlights a women's match has ever had at a WrestleMania. So, you know, they have a lot of pressure to deliver on this match. But if there's any two women who can do it, it's Charlotte Flair and Asuka, that's for sure. And, you know, through all the days of the streak, through all the matches, you know, there has never been a bigger test than, you know, arguably the best in the business on the biggest stage. So, you know, these nerves and emotions that are going to be coming at Asuka are going to be something she's never felt before, never seen before. And, you know, we're going to find out if Asuka's a pretender or a contender, because, you know, like, when those nerves and emotions hit you, it's like you either channel them into the right places and it elevates you to make you get better, or it just kind of swallows you up and you just, you know, kind of crumble under the pressure in the moment. But Asuka was, you know, everything you know about Asuka, she was built for this moment, she was made for this moment, and she is going to absolutely, you know, elevate her game to putting on a classic performance. And, this is a big match for Charlotte Flair's legacy as well. She wants to be the best in the world. She wants to be the queen. She wants to carry the torch for the women's division in WWE and wrestling and, like that. She has to deliver in situations like this. And, I don't want to, bring up, her father in comparisons like that. But, her father made his legacy in delivering in the biggest situations, in the situations where everyone says, okay, this has to be a great match. This is going to be a great match. Let's see it. And he would deliver that. And he would, when people are, sometimes it's hard to deliver on expectations when people are expecting something, but her bloodline, it's in her blood to do it. And Charlotte Flair has proved before that she can step up, and she is more than ready for this moment. So I can't wait to watch these two come together for this big epic confrontation, and just to see where it goes, what kind of ride they take us on. I just cannot wait to see it. And Asuka should probably get the win here because being the winner of the first Women's Royal Rumble, you'd like to see that lead to a victory. You don't want to see the first winner lose it. It's kind of, it takes a little bit of the fire out of it. But at the same time, Charlotte is the caliber of wrestler where every near fall could be the end of the streak. So it's she could easily walk out with the title, and they wouldn't be totally out of the question. So I just can't wait to watch this match. I think Asuka's gonna win, but it's not a slam dunk, and it's just I just can't wait. It's gonna be an epic confrontation, and it could be the greatest women's match of all time. No pressure, ladies. Okay, and the next match on the card. Oh man, a match I cannot wait to see. One I thought I would really never see, and one that I don't think it really is kind of sunk in yet that we're going to see it. But the return of Daniel Bryan alongside Shane McMahon to take on the team of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And like I say, I'm pumped for this match, but it hasn't really. I don't think it's sunk in that Daniel Bryan is back to in-ring competition, and we're gonna get to see him wrestle again. And he's that he's back. I just don't really think it's sunk in yet. I'm excited, but it's just like I don't know. It's like I'm thinking. I don't know. Probably won't really hit me until I actually see him come out in his ring gear and get in the ring and really go again. It's like, okay, now we're back. Now we're rolling. But it's just I'm just so grateful that I'm just so thankful that he was blessed with blessed with a miracle to be able to get healed enough to be to return to in-ring competition and professional wrestling. So this is an amazing, I just pray for a safe, successful run, but I'm not going to dwell on is he going to get hurt because, just this is not worth thinking about. I'm going to think about the positives and the good things and just focus on, be optimistic about it. And so that's, I'm just, and that's what I'm going to do in this match. Just be happy to I get to watch Daniel Bryan perform again and just really, really enjoy this match because it's going to be a great match. And, it's... for Daniel Bryan coming back, he could not have better dance partners to do it with than Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, two of the absolute best in the business, and guys that have actually generated heel heat in 2018. Like, are you kidding me? Like, people are booing them and actually booing them consistently and not cheering them. It's very, very refreshing to see. So with this match should be insane with the crowd energy behind it, and if Daniel Bryan can shake off the rust quickly, this match is going to steal the show. But it's been a long time since Daniel Bryan's been a regular active competitor, and so it's not always easy to kind of get back to the level you were in. Excuse me. It does take time to get your timing back and to get your speed back and to get just to get the feel for the ring back. But that's Daniel Bryan is such a veteran. He's been doing it for so long that he's almost in that point where the memory will kick in. When you get on that big stage of WrestleMania, the greatest performers, they have that extra gear where they go to, and it's like you remember things, and you're just able to do things you wouldn't normally do. And I think we're going to see Daniel Bryan hit that gear on Sunday, and put in a great performance. And I can't believe Shane McMahon is going to be wrestling in this match, considering what we heard. I mean, he suffered from a bout of diverticulitis, which can range from either mild to really severe. But hearing it came with like an umbilical hernia burst or something like that. Oh, like that sounds extremely painful and serious. So, but he's wrestling with it. So I can't believe that. Hats off to him for gritting it out in this performance. And but this is gonna be an awesome match. And this is the caliber of match that I really feel is in line with the push that Kevin Owens has been given in the from last year up until now, and with that awesome angle with Vince McMahon, and with the big feud with Shane McMahon that's been going on throughout all these months. And just I felt with all that he hasn't really been put in a position that has reflected that big the angles that they were doing with him. I thought he should have been put in more of a prominent position. But this match definitely is a prominent position, and definitely something that'll help elevate Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to the next level. So I'm just awesome that this match is going down, and it's going to be great to see. And it just hasn't sunk in. We're going to get to see Daniel Bryan wrestle again. Like, this is it's just awesome. And with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's jobs on the line, you almost think they have to win, because how do they get back into the company if they lose? But at the same time, do you want Daniel Bryan's first match to be a loss? So it's like, oh man, I just love that all these matches with the winners up in the air. It's not a slam dunk or anything. So it's just going to be fun to watch this match, and I'm really going to enjoy it. And just try and remember how great. To be very grateful that we do get to see Daniel Bryan in the ring again. So just awesome, and I cannot wait to watch that match. And next match on the card, gonna take another sip. Sorry. Thank you. Next match on the card, the one the world will be watching, guaranteed. The debut of Ronda Rousey alongside Kurt Angle to take on Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. It's going to be awesome. And when I say the world will be watching, I'm not. That's not just a tagline or a catchphrase. I think that is absolutely 100% true, because just a little story. Last week when I was out at Chapters buying the WrestleMania Collectors magazine, shut up. But when I was out buying the WrestleMania Collectors magazine, the clerk looked down at it and he saw Ronda Rousey on the cover, and he said, "Oh, Ronda Rousey." He's like, "I'm actually thinking of tuning into WrestleMania and watching to see what she does." And we saw. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be pretty good." So we kind of talked about Ronda Rousey and that a little bit in her training and stuff, and so I wanted to promote the show a little bit, make sure he watched, try and maybe bring a new fan back in. He said he hadn't watched, since the early 2000, 2003 or 4 or something like that. And he said, just trying to sell the product, maybe bring a new fan. I was like, yeah, it'd be a good one to check out. There's going to be a few other really good matches on there. And he kind of I could tell he just kind of lost interest and put up the wall. And I was just like, oh man. So this match really needs to deliver. It has to be good. And based on his reaction, I have to assume that a lot of people are going to be the same way. So it's I think that to hook the casuals, it's going to have to be this match. They can't rely on any of the other matches, because people are tuning in for Ronda, and people just have these stupid walls up for wrestling, and they put these barriers up. So if this match does not smoke, then they might not be able to hook the casual viewers, and bring them back for Raw and other pay-per-views to see what Ronda's doing. So whatever they do in this match has to deliver. It has to be great. And it's just they really got to put a lot of thought into what they're going to do, and to really think, is this going to be the thing that hooks the casual viewer and keeps people engaged in the product going forward. And it's You know, I just because of it's so important to hook the casual viewer in this match, I just really don't think that the right thing is to do, to do your typical, Ronda eventually beats up Stephanie and makes her tap. And, I just don't think that's the thing that's going to hook the casual viewer going forward. I don't think that's going to keep them engaged. I don't think that's going to get them to tune into Raw to see what happens on there. I just don't think that's a storyline or an angle that's going to be able to hook the casual viewer. So I'm going to go through my idea that I think would be able to hook the casual viewer and make them keep tuning into the product and stay engaged into what Ronda is doing. My idea would be just to pull a full big time swerve in this match. But I would have Ronda and Stephanie swerve Kurt Angle and Triple H and reveal that Stephanie and Ronda have actually been in alliance this entire time. And so what I would do is I would have Stephanie making old school Memphis proud with her tactics, avoiding Ronda Rousey, like just doing everything she can to avoid confrontation, and to the point where even as the match goes on, even eventually Triple H is like kind of getting frustrated and confused, like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't what we talked about. This isn't the part of the plan. Like, go kick her ass. Like, like, let's go here. What's going on? And so, like, she'd just be avoiding, and then, finally Triple H and Kurt Angle would be wrestling, and they'd beat the hell out of each other, and they'd both be down and be crawling, and they'd be trying to make the tag, and Stephanie would seemingly have no choice but to tag in and finally face Ronda, and so they would happen. They'd Kurt and Triple H would make the tag. Ronda and Stephanie would come into the ring. And, they get in there and they play it up like they're going to fight. They're about to go at it. And right before they do, they kind of just start to smile at each other and laugh. And then look at each other, and they'd slowly turn around, and Ronda would turn, and she would turn to face Kurt Angle, and Stephanie would turn to face Triple H. And then, at the same time, they'd both lift their arms and just do the DX suck it to both guys. And then, the both guys would be on the apron going like, what the hell is going on? And then, Stephanie would turn around to Ronda and kind of mockingly, fakely, fall into an armbar and immediately tap out to Ronda. And that would be the end of the match. And, both Triple H and Kurt Angle would just be kind of like dumbfounded, like, what the hell? Like, Kurt Angle wouldn't be able to celebrate a victory like that. And, Triple H wanted to win, and he doesn't understand what the hell Stephanie just did. So, they'd both be confused, but, Ronda and Stephanie would leave together, and Triple H and Kurt Angle wouldn't know what was going on, and so Stephanie and Ronda would leave together, and they would kind of start into a like a 2-woman power trip type angle. They would start that kind of alliance, and it would really be the perfect combination. Stephanie would control the corporate side, the business stuff, make sure Ronda gets all the title shots, all the endorsements, gets has all the advantages in wrestling, she takes care of all that stuff while Ronda dominates and kicks ass in the ring, and holds the championship and stuff like that. So it would really be the perfect combination. And so on Raw, so I think that kind of a swerve would at least be enough to get people like, what's going on with Ronda and Stephanie? Like, I'm gonna watch Raw and see what's going on with that. And on Raw, Stephanie would reveal that her plan to take over, pun intended, the WWE and have control of everything, and that her plan didn't just include WWE, it also included NXT, and she brought in that she now represents the new NXT champion Shayna Baszler, who hopefully and should win the title on Saturday at TakeOver. Stephanie revealed that she has her on the team, so now Stephanie controls the NXT Women's Champion, and they'd be saying soon Ronda will be the Raw Women's Champion, or hell, maybe she'll be both WWE Women's Champions. So that would be Stephanie's big plan to control all of WWE and NXT, and this would kind of kickstart the big war between. It it would kickstart a big war between Stephanie and Triple H, because they're so much fun when they're rivals, and they're just so much fun when they're at each other, just going at it, and this would kind of kickstart a big war. Stephanie would be making a big power play to take control, and Triple H, obviously, after a few weeks, he's going to need some help, and I think he has a few friends that might be able to help him in this. And that would Triple H would bring in the four horsewomen. That would be his backup on his side, and it would help him in the war against Stephanie. And that's the thing, Ron. And you could bring in more people on Stephanie's side. Like, you can bring in Tessa Blanchard for Ronda's four horsewomen, because I don't know if all four of the MMA four horsewomen are going to be able to train to be wrestlers. I think they all are, but I've heard that some have stopped. Like, a couple of them have stopped, so I'm not sure. But Tessa Blanchard has a connection to the actual real four horsemen, and she was not part of the women's four horsewomen. Charlotte, Bayley, Becky, and Sasha. So it's like, she built in animosity there. That's a bit. She is a good wrestling veteran that can help anchor that four horsewomen, that MMA four horsewomen team, and have carry some of the wrestling matches for them. But it's just this could be the storyline that kind of sets off the four horsewomen war, and a war between Stephanie and Triple H, and that could be really fun to watch on WWE. And the thing is, it'd be focused on more around the women. It wouldn't be like male stars. They would be doing it through the females. So it'd be something that's never been done before. And I think Ronda and Stephanie they'd be so much fun as this cocky, we run the show heel team, almost a she generation next. I'm sorry, I said I wasn't going to do that joke. It's not in the notes, and I did it anyways, and I've gone too long to redo this, so damn it. Whatever I said it's in there. But I just think they'd be such a fun team to watch as this, this cocky, arrogant, just not taking any crap from anybody, and just pushing their weight around and letting everyone know they're the greatest and they run the shots and they call the shots and run the show. I just think they'd be so much fun to watch, and Ronda would be able to kind of develop in the shadows, around. With I don't want to say hiding, but kind of hiding behind the presence of Stephanie McMahon, because there'd be a lot of storyline and a lot of angles, so Ronda wouldn't be completely exposed to have to carry great matches, and everyone would be expecting her to have match of the night, or constantly nitpicking everything. She'd be in a position to be more protected, and because she's still early in her career, she's got to learn, she's got to keep growing. So This would give her more chances to do that, and I just think it would be a better chance to hook in the casual viewer, and and then eventually, because it sounds like the rumors say that they want to turn this into like a Steve Austin, Vince McMahon, type storyline, like the big hero baby face goes up against the big evil authority figure, and that could work. But I think they just need to build to that first, and they need to do a lot more building before they get there. And, if they do this, this big war between Stephanie and Triple H and the four horsewomen, and like they do this big storyline for a year or two. After that, the place that it leads to is Ronda eventually getting sick of Stephanie's control and seeing the error of her ways, and finally, breaking off Stephanie and trying to end her control, and then they get that big war between them, and then that would be big money. But I think you gotta build a relationship between Stephanie and Ronda first, and going on a great heel run, kind of a Mean Girls best friends, type thing would just be a perfect way to do it. And I just really think they got to do something to hook in the casual viewers, because with that experience I had with the Clerk at Chapters, this match is going to be maybe their one and only chance to hook people when it comes to being interested in what Ronda does. So they got to make something good. And this is my idea. It's obviously not the only idea. There's lots of ideas they could come up with, but I really hope they got something other than your standard. Ronda eventually gets her hands on Stephanie and taps her out. But But I'm really pumped for this match. I'm pumped for Ronda's run in WWE. I can't wait to see what she does, and how far she goes with it, and how just what level she's able to get her game to, and just if she's able to contribute and have some great matches that go down in history. So, but this is where it starts. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really excited to see what kind of storylines come out of it. And the next match on the card for the WWE Universal title, the champion Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Now I know this match is basically guaranteed to go last as the main event. I absolutely do not think that it should. I think that AJ and Nakamura is your main event. It has to go last, but I can guarantee it's not going to. But for me, this match, I'm not totally writing off Brock and Reigns. I wish it was Brock and Braun instead, but I got to give them credit for the effort and the energy they put into building this feud and this match, because they really tried hard, and I did actually like some things they did. I really liked the segment where Brock came out while Roman was handcuffed, and Reigns sold that perfectly. Oh shit, look, oh shit, I'm handcuffed, and here comes an uncaged beast, like that. Reigns sold. I thought that was I thought they did a really great job in that segment. And but on the flip side, I thought the segment where Roman went to the back to confront Vince McMahon was a huge miss. Because if you're gonna present that as Roman losing his cool and going off script to confront Vince, you got to show some fire. You got to show some heat. Roman went to walk back there, and he's almost half volume. Like, oh, what's up, man? What's up? You ignoring me? You're not talking to me? What's up? It's like, you gotta come be mad. Like, you gotta yank Vince out of his chair. You gotta smack his headset off. You gotta grab him with that, like you're talking to a little kid. Like, you listen to me. Like, you're not gonna look at me when I'm talking to you. I'm Roman Reigns. I'm a big dog. Yes, you are. Like, you gotta see some fire. You gotta at least yell at the guy. And I mean, I don't think that there was. I just think the volume needed to be turned way up for that segment. So I thought that was a miss. But that's the thing. Not everything's going to be a hit. Not everything's going to miss. You got to try. And, it was a good try. If the volume had been turned up, then it could have worked. But it is what it is. So I've enjoyed some things they did. Some were a miss. But it's going to lead into it's going to be a good physical match for sure. I mean, these guys always bring it. Their WrestleMania 31 match, they were really bringing it. So I don't expect any less here. And I don't think they're going to have too great of crowd support, but especially if they go last. But at the same time, they're going to have some good energy to this match, because I mean, people hate the push that Roman's got. I mean, now it's almost got to the point where people just boo him because it's a thing to do. I mean, I'm not saying it's the in thing to do. It's just like it's almost conditioning people. You hear the Shield or you hear his name, it's just boo. But I think there's still going to be some heat behind this match. It's still going to be good. It's going to be physical, and I know both guys are aware of all this going in. So I know they're going to work hard to get the crowd on their side and get them into it. And I'm really interested to see if they'll be able to. Because if you're going to be the big dog, you got to be able to put in, steal some of these performances like this. So it's going to be interesting. One of Roman's first big tests here to try and steal the crowd and get them into this match. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if they're able to do it. And it's this match. I don't think this is probably the only match where the winner is not totally up in the air. It's pretty much a slam dunk that Roman's going to win. Like the story says that, as they say, Vince McMahon ended Taker's streak with this match eventually in mind years down the road, with Taker losing to Brock, who would eventually drop the belt to Roman Reigns at a big show. I obviously didn't think it was the time that WrestleMania 31 gave it to Seth Rollins, who ended up being an amazing, great decision. But this time there's no Money in the Bank, and I can't see Brock walking out. So this is Roman Reigns' night. It's what it's been building to. So it's going to be a moment, and we'll see if they are able to steal the crowd and get them on their side for this match. And moving on, I guess it's not really a match. It's going to be, just kind of a confrontation, or it could be nothing. John Cena versus The Undertaker. And this has been a really interesting build, it definitely worked. I can't remember when I wanted to hear that gong, worse. And, and that was the point of it, to get everybody, that was like, to get everybody that maybe wasn't on board with it, wanting to see The Undertaker and hear him back. And, it's not that I wasn't on board with Undertaker coming back. It's like, I never want The Undertaker to leave. I don't want him to ever retire. I want him to wrestle until WrestleMania 50. I'd love to see him wrestle at every year WrestleMania. But I just know eventually it's going to be a reality we have to face. And, if we have to face that reality, I want him to go out in the best way possible. And when you look at WrestleMania 33, like, there's no better way to go out than that. And, that's the thing. This WrestleMania 33 was just, everything about that moment, it said that it was Taker's last match, and that it was that he was saying goodbye, by leaving his hat and his jacket and everything in the ring, and, the way he walked out and just taking those long last glances, really drinking in the crowd response and those last few seconds in the ring as the dead man and the Undertaker, really, so everything about that moment said that the Undertaker was done, and that was his last, and it was just such a great, just an amazing moment, and it just was, it really, and it just, that moment echoed across, really all across the whole world, like everybody that ever heard of The Undertaker kind of paid tribute to his career. That's why I didn't want to see him come back, because I guess I would have felt like I had a little egg on my face with how big of a deal I made it, because I really thought it was his last match. I know it's not about me. Who cares what I feel and how I think and feel about it? Really, I don't, I don't necessarily care about any of that, but it's just, for him to do, for just the way it happened, I just thought it would be just kind of weird for him to come back and just have another normal match. So, as badly as I wanted to see John Cena versus The Undertaker, I really wanted that WrestleMania 33 to be that. I really wanted WrestleMania 33 to be that goodbye, that final, that final walk for The Undertaker, and so I was really torn, and but I'm. But with the storyline they got, I really wanted to hear that gong. I was like, whatever, just screw it. Like, I want to see, and I want to see I want to see this gong now. Like, seeing this got me to the point where I want to see it. So, hats off to them. Great job. You did it. You got somebody like me wanted to hear that gong again. I was really surprised that they would troll the fans like they did. Especially with the climate of wrestling in WWE right now. Like, I'm very surprised they would troll fans, week after week with an Undertaker appearance, and then not deliver, and then really not deliver. Like, we're used to kind of, okay, the last week he's going to show up, but he didn't show up. So, I'm very surprised that they did it like this. But, it ties into the story, and it makes sense with how Taker went out at WrestleMania 33, because, Undertaker's a guy where he walks to the beat of his own drum. He does not do what other people want him to do. He does not, care what other people think. So, if everything about WrestleMania 33 said The Undertaker was done, and if he really was done, there's nothing anyone could say or do that could bring him out of retirement or anything like that. Like, he's a man that once he made that decision, like, you'd just be a little mosquito flying around, and he'd squash you if he had enough. But that's the equivalent. He'd just be something like something that he barely even cared about. It would just be noise to him. So, like, Cena could sit there and talk all he wants, but he would never come out. And, like, Cena's ego thought he could bring The Undertaker out, but he wasn't able to. So, the way they did it fit in with the story. I'm just really surprised that they went that route. But, it worked. It worked with the story. So, as much as it sucks not to see The Undertaker, it worked with the story. So, as a fan of a great story, it's, I gotta enjoy it and give him credit for it. But but I was thinking, so I mean, if even though it was the perfect way to go out at WrestleMania 33, I do want to see this Undertaker John Cena match, and but there were rumors saying that he was going to come back as the American Badass, and thinking about it, not only do I want that, but I am absolutely 100% okay with it, and I really don't feel that it would tarnish the WrestleMania 33 ending at all, because WrestleMania 33, if you look at it, was kind of saying goodbye to the dead man, whereas if he comes back as the American Badass, we still need to say goodbye to the American Badass. We haven't yet, so that's why I feel if he came back as the American Badass at WrestleMania 34 for a confrontation or match with John Cena, wouldn't tarnish the WrestleMania 33 stuff at all, because we said goodbye to the dead man there, and we still got to say goodbye one more time to the Undertaker, or to the American Badass. So I want to see the American Badass show up. It'd be cool to kind of see them get in the ring and maybe try one more time to get him to call out. You hear that gong, but then 1 or 2 minutes of nothing, and then all of a sudden just you hear that bike start up, and the crowd go ape shit, and Taker just flies down the ramp, parks the bike, doesn't say one word on the mic, just gets in the ring and kicks the shit out of John Cena. Because man, he's been disrespectful to Undertaker on the mic on Instagram. So I'd just like to see Undertaker get in there and just beat the living hell out of him. Pillar to post, just everything. And I was actually thinking, they could actually do something kind of unique and cool, in that just have it be a confrontation, just start fighting, not bring a referee out there, and and then they could almost do something where they have the crowd be the referee. And how they do that is so they wouldn't go for any of the normal near falls, no clothesline and then cover or anything like that. They'd only cover after they beat each other up for a good 10-15 minutes or something, however long you want the confrontation to go. After they've beaten each other up for a good amount of time, Cena hits an AA, and then starts the count, and then 1, 2, and then Taker kicks out, and then hopefully once the crowd will realize that the guys are responding to the count that the crowd is doing, so they'll really start getting into these to count. So Cena hits the AA, 1, crowd counts 1, 2, Taker kicks out, and then Taker hits a choke slam, 1, 2. They might have to hit the mat the first few times to get the crowd going, but hopefully the crowd figures it out, and they can start counting down with them. And that way at the end, Taker finally hits the last ride, 1, 2, 3, technically wins, and at the same time, John Cena doesn't lose. It's not really a match, and I think it would be a cool, unique concept if they were able to get the crowd into it, counting every near fall that they're doing. It'd almost be up there with the blindfold match, and as it goes with unique kind of WrestleMania moments. So I think that would be something cool if they were able to pull that off and get the crowd kind of really into counting the near falls in unison. But I don't know what they're gonna do. I think they're definitely gonna do something. They have certainly created interest in this confrontation. So it's I'm really pumped to see what happens, and I'm excited to see if it's gonna be the Dead Man again or if it's gonna be the American Badass. And it's just they've hooked me in on this one. They've done a great job. Hats off. This story has sucked me in, and I want to see it come to its conclusion. So I'm really looking forward, and I'm pumped to see where the story takes us on Sunday at WrestleMania. And here we go. Last but not least, the main event for the WWE Championship: AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Excuse me. And okay, this is a match that I guarantee people thought they would never see, at least on this stage, in this situation, for the WWE Championship, main event of WrestleMania, with Shinsuke Nakamura winning the Royal Rumble. This is a match, 5 years ago, if you would have told a wrestling fan AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura will main event WrestleMania 34 for the WWE Championship, nobody would believe you, and you would have been able to make a lot of money and take a lot of money from these people. Because, man, it is just, it's just so crazy to see now both guys in this position. With Nakamura, you've seen how many times that they've tried to build Japanese stars, and how many times they've tried to put guys in position, put Japanese guys in positions to where they can become superstars and maybe be WWE champion and carry the brand and things like that. Just never been able to do it. Never been able to find the right guy, and just kind of thought that maybe it just wasn't possible to transition that to a WWE level, like to the WWE main event level. But then comes Shinsuke Nakamura, King of Strong Style. And he just lit the NXT world on fire when he showed up. It took a little bit for him to gain the same kind of ground that he had in NXT and WWE. But I think now he's getting in right at that rock star status again. And is just hitting his peak levels. Coming into WrestleMania, which is what you want to do. And so it's just, and that's, man, it cannot be overstated how huge a moment it will be if a Japanese star wins the WWE title at WrestleMania. I mean, for a Japanese star to win the WWE title on its own is an amazing, monumental accomplishment. But to happen at WrestleMania just makes it that much bigger. And it's just he had a chance at SummerSlam, wasn't able to do it. That's the second biggest stage. Now it's the biggest stage, so Nakamura can't fail here. He has to deliver, and I think that he will. I think this is his destiny. I think he's going to win it, and it's just going to be a monumental moment. I don't think that people realize how big of a moment it is for a Japanese star to win the WWE title, and especially at WrestleMania. So for me, having being a WWE fan my whole life, I know how big of a deal it is. So to me, this is why this match has to be a main event. It's such a historic, monumental moment that it's just it's made for WrestleMania, and I just. And again, I think Nakamura's not being just handed this moment. He's earned it. He's delivered in every situation he's put in, and him and AJ Styles are just destined to have maybe the greatest match of all time in this spot. So it's one of. Yeah, I just can't overstate how big of a moment this is, and I just really want it to be the main event. I think that it deserves this spot. And and looking at AJ, it's still unbelievable to me that he's had the run that he's had in WWE, and not only that, but now that he's in this position to main event WrestleMania as the WWE champion. Not that I didn't think he has the talent. I just remember, watching him in TNA, and then I remember when his contract would come up, and I'd hear about him either not getting an offer from WWE or getting an insultingly low offer from WWE and having really no choice but to go re-sign with TNA and go back there. And you could tell that he was definitely a little bit bitter about it. And but it was just it wasn't the talent. It was just they, for one reason or the other, they just never saw him. They just never really saw him as a guy they wanted to bring in, and saw him as an asset, as for someone they would bring in. So I remember seeing that, and because of all that, I just never really thought that he would get to WWE, and if he did, mid card at best, probably a jobber to the stars, probably a guy where everyone's frustrated and is just like, maybe almost a Daniel Bryan situation, but completely the opposite. Right from the time he stepped through the door, given a big spotlight, given a big spot, like push to the top, and then going over John Cena clean, winning the WWE Championship, multiple time WWE champion. Now carrying the WWE Championship into WrestleMania, the main event. It's just, and it couldn't happen to a better guy. AJ Styles, one of the nicest guys in the business, it seems, and has worked so hard his whole career. He's done the right things, hasn't gotten into trouble. He's been the right kind of a role model and the right kind of a person. He's worked so hard, and it's just so awesome to see good things happen to good people, and for this run to happen to him. So it's. It's just awesome to see both guys like AJ and Nakamura in this moment. They deserve it, and you really feel like it's their destiny to meet together in this stage at this moment and to deliver the greatest match of all time, because all the pieces are there for it. They just got to put them together, and that's the thing. I know I don't want to. You're putting a lot of pressure on these guys, and it's almost like are you raising the bar too high, or your expectations so high that they can't ever be met? But it's like no, it's the thing about legendary moments and greatness, I mean, that, it's almost become cliche, but pressure creates diamonds. It's like, if you don't have the pressure, those diamonds aren't created. It's like those big moments, those big stages, those pressure situations, they create the legends. It's like, when you get to the World Series and you call your shot, it's like you're putting yourself, you're putting yourself out there, and you strike out, and yeah, everyone's gonna laugh at you, and you're gonna have egg on your face, and you're gonna have that, you're gonna fail in front of the whole entire world. But if you call your shot on the biggest stage and you crank that home run, you're gonna be a legend, and people are gonna talk about you for the rest of time, and people will never forget you, and people will tell your story for the rest of time. And that's what they do with Babe Ruth, because he had the guts to step into a pressure situation and put even more pressure on himself. And you say, you know what? I'm pointing to the center field. I'm calling my shot. I'm hitting a home run off of you. There's nothing you can do about it. And then did exactly what he said he was going to do, delivered in that situation, and that's why he's the best. He knew he could strike out, but if you aren't willing to put yourself out there in those pressure situations, then you're not going to be able to get to that legendary status. You're not going to be able to deliver, get to your greatest moment. And if AJ and Nakamura both recognize that this is their greatest moment, this is their called shot. This is their called shot moment. This is their time to say this should be the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, and this will be the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. This will be the greatest match of all time. This is their called shot moment. I can't wait to watch it. I am so excited and so pumped to see it. I really hope it's a main event. It used to be the WWE champion meant you're the best wrestler in the world. AJ and Nakamura could cement that and really make that mean it again. So I just think this is such a big moment, such a big match, and it needs to be in the main event of WrestleMania, because no matter what happens before it, the crowd will have energy for this match. They will not sit on their hands. They will not, they won't not have anything left. They will have energy for it, and they will give this match the elevation, the intensity and the atmosphere it needs to be the greatest match of all time. I know if the crowd shows up, AJ and Nakamura will do their part. So I really hope all the elements come together to create, the greatest match of all time. So that brings us to the end of the actual WrestleMania preview. I just have a few more random thoughts. I know I've gone really long. Appreciate you sticking around for the whole thing, but it's WrestleMania. I know I can't help it. I got to talk. I got to and once I get started, I can't stop. So excuse me, but just a few random thoughts. Like I mentioned before, I'm really wondering why they're waiting on bringing in Tessa Blanchard. I think Charlotte and Tessa Blanchard is an absolute big money feud. I think that's one of your potentials for candidates for a WrestleMania, women's WrestleMania main event, because that's the thing. Think about a women's WrestleMania main event. It's not just going to be about the action. It's not just going to be, is this going to be a great match? It has to be, this will be a great match, and it's a great story. Like, the story's going to have to be there. And, the best stories have an element of realness to them. And, man, Tessa Blanchard and Charlotte Flair could have some serious realness to their storylines. They don't have to, it doesn't even really have to be revolved around their fathers, using a little bit of their fathers and kind of branching off of that. They can find so much real stuff to get into, and Tessa's great in the ring, Charlotte's great in the ring. If they have chemistry together, they could put on a match that someone could put forth as an argument for a WrestleMania main event. But I really don't understand why they're waiting on Tessa. She's one of the best talents out there, and she's been in NXT. She's got the lineage. She's a third or fourth generation wrestler. So I don't know why they're waiting on her, but the time is now to strike while the iron's hot, and I think there's such big money to be made with her and Charlotte Flair, so I really don't know why they're waiting, but I want to see that match and feud very, very badly. And now the rumors are saying that The Rock possibly could show up at WrestleMania on Sunday, and they're saying he may be showing Elias how it's done with a Rock concert. That would be amazing. But, I'd hate to see how much time it would take away from their other matches and stuff, as amazing it would be. But yeah, if it happens, I'll definitely sit back and enjoy it. But hopefully it doesn't take too much time away from the other matches if it happens. But would be an absolutely epic moment. And I gotta say, since we've lost Pyro every other event and every other show, this had better be a ridiculous damn pyrotechnics extravaganza, okay? Because, man, do I miss Pyro. And, if we're going to lose it, you got to make the biggest show of the year have Pyro. I mean, every single thing should have Pyro. The ring announcer's entrance should have Pyro. Like, this should be, like, going all out for the Pyro. So, I hope we get an absolutely great Pyro show for all the entrances. All the entrances get the epic Pyro that they deserve. I know it sounds like a trivial thing, but damn it adds that little just bit of excitement and coolness to the show. So I actually do miss it. And I just wanted to mention, I'm really happy to hear that Eric Bischoff is going to be starting a podcast with Conrad Thompson from Something to Wrestle. And, hopefully they're doing it in that same style of Something to Wrestle, breaking down WCW kind of the same way. Because, when I was listening to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, I always thought that, man, this would obviously be a no-brainer for a WCW one. It's too bad we had to lose Dusty. He would have been an amazing guy to sit down with and have a podcast like that, rest in peace, Dream. But, it would have been amazing to have him. Eric Bischoff is, just as good of a name for that. He was right there, and it's going to be. I don't really have too much more time for podcast. But I'm definitely going to try and make some room to check out this new Eric Bischoff podcast, because I'm just so interested in all things wrestling and all the behind the scenes stuff, and just everything that led into what. Just what went into the moments. I don't necessarily need to know all the dirty laundry, and need to humiliate people and stuff like that. But I know all the little backstage details and stories that I can hear, leading up to that. Give me it all, because I love it. And WWF, WWE, I'll take it all. So this is going to be a pretty great podcast. I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's either, although with WCW you hear that there was a lot of it wasn't exactly as organized as WWE or WWF at times, and there was a lot of chaos. So I think it's going to be awesome, but it still might be a lot of, well, it doesn't work for me, brother. So, but no, I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to get into it. Hopefully they get a good long run out of it. And speaking of podcasts, just want to give another shout out, Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson. Just one of my favorite podcasts. I love taking the stroll down memory lane and the time capsule. Just getting to hear some of the backstage stories and stuff behind it. And the dynamics between Conrad and Bruce is just great. And I thought that. There was something really funny that I got to mention from the WrestleMania 4 episode. Conrad always gives Brutus the Barber Beefcake a hard time, and he's doing it again. And Bruce is like, man, he's gonna kick your ass one day. And, Conrad, is all, I ain't scared of shit. He's like, really, what's he gonna do? And then Bruce responds with, man, he's gonna kick your ass and shave your beard. I don't know why, man, that made me laugh for a few days. I thought that was funny. I just love those little gems that get thrown in there. Another one of my favorite little things between them is when they're talking about Triple H. Conrad's, all right, Bruce, get your chapstick ready, followed by the kissy noise. And oh man, I just love the dynamic between those two. That's part of the reason why the show works so well. And I just wanted to mention that moment from that past episode. I thought that was hilarious, and it made me laugh for a few days. And speaking of podcasts, the last one I wanted to mention, I've been mentioning my boy Chris Jericho. Talk is Jericho. Man, this podcast is just amazing. I just finished an amazing interview with Chris Hardwick. I just love how you talk with. all these guests, you always kind of learn one little thing from each guest. And, with Chris Hardwick, I really was able to pick up some really interesting talking points, and really got me thinking about, why I watch certain things and why I don't watch certain things. And man, they just brought up some really interesting points. I could have listened to them talk for hours. Like the little bit of time that, they talk for an hour, but it's like that just wasn't even close to enough. I thought it was a really, really great podcast. And then, the one after that was with DMC from Run DMC. That was amazing. Like talking about hip hop, just learned so much about, because DMC, they came up in the MTV era, with rock stars and rap stars, and, they were on the, riding the wave of pop culture. So it was like, man, it was just an incredible interview. And you think, Chris Jericho's interviewing DMC from Run DMC. What? But man, amazing interview. And that's why I love Talk is Jericho. You're getting wrestling, you're getting music, you're getting movies, you're getting TV, you're getting just absolutely everything. So, I just wanted to mention those interviews. Like, they were absolutely incredible. And every interview he does is just great. Like, all the wrestling ones are just over the top, unreal. And it's just, that's the thing about him. He just knows how to get, he knows how to get entertaining stories out of people, and he always seems like he's best friends with everyone he talks to. That's the gift of Jericho. I don't know, wrap it in, man. That was probably awful. Yes, no. But I wanted to mention one thing that from one of the episodes I just heard from Talking to Jericho, I thought was absolutely hilarious. And you always got to watch for these little lines and just little things that are kind of tucked into some of these episodes that, if you're not paying attention, they might kind of slip by. But holy crap, I absolutely died laughing for this one. It was actually in the episode where he's talking to the Total Divas, Eva, Ariane, and Brie, which was kind of funny that all three are not active on WWE TV anymore, and then two are not even on Total Divas or anything anymore. So that was kind of interesting. But anyways, they were talking, and then they got to Chris Jericho was talking about, how the boys were treating the cameramen and how they got along with everything. And the Divas, they said everyone was mostly fine. People would just let them know if they didn't want to be filmed, and as long as didn't get filmed, everything was fine and everything. And Jericho's kind of like, they're pretty lucky. It's you're lucky that things all went smooth and that they had a good time. There was a time where those cameramen would have their eyebrows shaved and their bags pooped in. Oh my god. I don't know why oh man, I thought that was so funny. I died laughing, but just picturing, these cameramen just excited, it's like, I'm gonna work for WWE, thinking it's a professional environment, and just so excited, and they get there and they get their eyebrows shaved and their bags pooped in. Oh man. And just picture him coming back. Hey, how was your day? I don't want to talk about it. Oh man, I absolutely died laughing when I heard that story, and it's just. But those are the kind of little things, little stories and things you get when you're listening to Talk is Jericho. So I really highly recommend the podcast. It's such a great interview, such a smorgasbord of guests. So it's definitely worth checking out, and definitely worth the hour or so out of your time for each episode. And just bring me to the last thing. I know I've gone really long. I'm sorry. I really appreciate you sticking with me. But last thing I want to mention, just want to send a congrats out to The Miz and Maurice, and also to Maria and Mike Bennett on the arrivals of their baby girls. I believe names are Monroe and Frederica. Just awesome to see. See the mommies and see the moms and dads doing great. Babies come in happy and healthy, and just awesome to see the new additions to the WWE family. And I just wish both families a lifetime of health and happiness. And it's just so awesome to see the new additions to the WWE family. And it's just such a great thing to have leading into WrestleMania. Such a positive, great thing to to see new life coming into the world, and to see just such positivity and love and good energy surrounding it. So just an awesome thing, and just a big congrats and cheers out to both couples. So that brings us to the end. That does it for me. That is the end of the WrestleMania preview. The Hall of Fame went down tonight. I still haven't been able to watch all of it yet. Gonna watch it as soon as I'm done. But I'm sure it was awesome from what I did get to see. Speeches were great. The inductions were awesome. It was great. Everybody was dressed to the nines, looking awesome. So tomorrow and then Saturday night we got Takeover. Gonna be an awesome show, and then we got WrestleMania on Sunday. So, I just can't. This is my favorite weekend of the year. I wish I was in New Orleans with everybody, but one day I'll make WrestleMania weekend with it, and be there in person with everybody. But, unfortunately I'll be watching from my couch, but sometimes that can be the best seat, if you do it upright. And we certainly are. Hopefully everybody has a great time, gets to have some fun and fellowship with everyone. Make sure you're doing everything safe, no drinking and driving or anything. And, it's just all about, we're all wrestling fans coming together to celebrate the sport the sport that we love, that brings us so much great, so much goodness and positivity. So, hopefully everybody enjoys the show, praying for a happy, safe, successful night for all the wrestlers that are performing on this WrestleMania weekend, both in the WWE and NXT, and also in all the independents and everything. Lots of shows going around, lots of wrestling to support. Support as much as you can. And go to as many things as you can, because the more wrestling there is, the better. And it just the more. It's just, it just helps people make a living and helps people live their dream, which is a great thing. So, it's WrestleMania weekend, and it's just my favorite time of the year. So, I'm going to stop talking. Thank everybody for coming along for the ride, and we'll see you soon down the road. Much love and God bless. Peace.